Hey Ramon,
Hey, Timea,
let's talk gender equality.
I love the idea. Give me a second. I just got to grab my coffee. I hope you've got yours too.
Yeah, right here.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Gender Equality Over Coffee. I'm so excited to have you all here today. Thank you for tuning in. My name's Ramon, she's Timea, and today we've got the pleasure of having on Tina.
Thank
Hi
you.
Tina,
Hi,
welcome.
Ramon. Hi, Timia. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for your invitation.
Yeah, let's introduce you, Tina. We were so excited to have so many wonderful guests, and you're just another wonderful one. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe pronouns, what your background is, and three fun facts about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Tina. Um, I grew up in Austria in southern Burgenland in a very, very small village. And I now live in the suburbs of Vienna together with my husband and my two girls, which are also big in motivation for me to reach gender equality. And yeah, three facts about me. One is that I met my husband and my best friends abroad, all of them. So, or in a language course. I was, like I said, I grew up in the countryside in a very, very small village. I was the first one to go to university from my family. And growing up in the village, I was always looking for something more. You know, I loved to have people around me that were different, that came from another country, or who had like, yeah, different views. And then I studied at the Vienna University of Economics and Business Administration, and I loved to learn languages. So I learned, of course, English, French, and Russian, and my exchange semester was in Russian. That's where I met my husband. He's French, by the way, as well. And I met my best friend, who is yeah, on my side since then as well. She's Austrian. And as I grew up very close to the Austrian border, to the Hungarian border, I also decided to learn Hungarian at university. So I went to summer college in Hungary in summer, and that's where I met my another best friend and another one as well. So yeah, there are actually two facts that, well, I met my closest friends abroad, and I also learned 7 languages. I was always I wanted to learn as soon as I went somewhere. I just found it respectful to know how to, you know, how to buy something in a supermarket, or to ask for something in a shop, in a restaurant, in the country's language. So that was my motivation to learn languages. Yeah, so I learned 7 languages, and I'm not able to speak them anymore, because, you know, if you don't use it, you just forget it. So now it's just English, French, and German. Yeah, and another fact I think that not so many people know about me is when I got pregnant with my first child, there were a lot of things going on in my head, you know, asking myself, am I on the right way? Being in recruiting for 8 years already, and I've been traveling a lot. I had a very stressful, interesting, but very stressful job back then. So I decided to do a training to become a shiatsu practitioner. You know, the shiatsu massage, it's a bodywork therapy. And that really helped me to come closer to myself, you know, and to learn more about my body. And yeah, that was really important part of my life, because I grew a lot during this time. But the recruiting part never left me. So I had to go back to recruiting after my maternity leave. And and also after the second maternity leave. And yeah, this is what I'm doing for 14 years now.
That is remarkable. Thank you. I have so many follow-up questions, if you don't mind indulging me. First off, so it's counting, right? English, German, French, Hungarian, Russian. What were the other two? Because you said 7.
Yes.
Sorry.
Ukrainian.
Yeah.
Because I went to Ukraine for twice in a summer college.
Yeah.
And the first time I went there, it was in the Russian-speaking part of Ukraine and the eastern part. And the second time it was in the western part of Ukraine, where you speak Ukrainian. And that's also where I learned Ukrainian. And then I learned Spanish because I just love Spain. And you know, if you know French and if you know Spanish, it's very easy to speak Italian, well, to understand Italian as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. I'm originally from Chile, so I know exactly what you mean. Like learning French from Spanish I felt like I had an advantage over my classmates back in high school.
Yeah, definitely.
That's awesome. I'm also curious, what made you land on shiatsu massage as a potential new direction?
I think it was just a very spontaneous decision. I always thought that I can only work with my brain. And that's what my parents told me. They said, you know, you're so clever. You have to go to university. You have to do something with your brain. So I really felt that I'm too much thinking, you know, and coming to something that brings you back to your body. I mean, I always loved to have massages. I went to see shiatsu before, or any kind of body work. I just loved it. And I always thought I cannot do it. It's just not my thing to do that. And then when I got pregnant, I just decided to go on a, you know, Schnupperabend, where you can just go and see. And the head of this institute, he said, he described the course, and then he said, well, and then sit down together with another partner, and then we just try some things. And, you know, we tried some shiatsu techniques. You know, you work with pressure, and you work on the clothes, and I just, you know, I was flashed after this experience, because I thought it was so calming for yourself, for me, you know, in practicing it, not only in receiving it, but also in giving it. So that was a really nice experience. And I also got to know people from so many different domains and backgrounds. And that was a very, very nice environment also to have that, besides the one that I knew before, you know.
That's really interesting. Thank you. And I think this, if I may use this as a segue, I think that I get the feeling that you have a bit of a passion for trying things out and getting out there, which probably ties into your drive behind volunteering, and especially your interest in mentorship. And I'm curious. What's your driver there? How'd you get into it? Into this, into mentorship?
I think I have to go back a little bit. Well, my mom just recently told me that she told me when I was 15 that I was a feminist, because she asked me to help her in the kitchen, and I said I won't do anything until my dad doesn't do anything. Because my dad never helped in the household, you know. And nice. I forgot about that. But, you know, my mom said, you were always a feminist, you know, it's not just now that you're doing that. So I kind of had, well, already back then I had the feeling that there is some inequality that we live, and working in recruiting, I've always been working in male domains. In the first years, I've been working in the construction industry a lot, well, industrial companies, automotive as well. And I've been hiring a lot of management positions throughout Europe, also the Middle East, South America, and Africa. And I've rarely seen women in those positions. And I also experienced, unfortunately, clients telling me that they would prefer a man. And back then, I didn't dare to raise my voice and to say that this is not possible. What I did instead, I still placed women and showed them that they were the best ones for this job, because this is what I'm doing. I find the best people, and I will not exclude anyone because of gender, age, or where the people come from. And so it was always there. There was always this wish to empower others, no matter who they are, what they do. And I have two girls. They're 3 and 6 years old, and they inspire me in so many ways. Just last year, I had the feeling that I have to do more. So it's just everything I did, it was okay, but there was this big wish to do more. And it was, again, a very spontaneous decision. I saw the Female Factor on LinkedIn, and I saw that they were looking for mentors. And I went on their website and I applied without thinking further. And when I did it, I was really excited. And then I got into the process, and they told me that I was approved as a mentor. So since October, and I'm in the mentoring program. I have a mentee that I'm helping in her journey since then. And when I started that, I was really on fire, That is one of my, if I'm really passionate, I feel like I'm almost exploding, because there are so many ideas coming up. And and then I started going to network events that are online now, thanks to COVID. And as a mom, I can be able to be on more events now. And then I just was more and more inspired, and I saw all those women, and I felt like, what could be my contribution to do more, and to also, to reach gender equality, and to create more visibility for women. Because also I read Invisible Women back then, and that also triggered a lot. And then I decided I could, as I'm working in IT, yes, really great book. Yeah. I work in IT recruiting now. You should read it, Ramon. In IT recruiting, we do see women, and we do place around 20% of women, but that's not enough. And I thought, this is my domain now, so this is where I can have the biggest impact. And I decided to find women in tech who are willing to tell their story, to inspire others. And then I told my colleagues and my managers about it, and they were just open for it and said, go for it. So our organizational environment is also very open-minded, and we're very dedicated to the new way of work. And what I hear a lot in our feedback meetings is, what would you do? What would you like to do? Is there anything that you still need to be happy in your job, to find to really find happiness? And so there was never a question of, how do we do that? Do we have the resources? It was just go for it. And that's what I did. And I was, again, my daughter and in the moment where I was about to post on LinkedIn that I will do it, that I will interview women, that was back in January. My daughter woke up at 5:30 in the morning, and her first question was, she's 6 years old, and she said, "How did humans develop on this planet? How did that go?" And I thought, okay, oh my God, 5:30, talking about evolution, not an easy thing, you know, and describing it to a 6-year-old. And then I thought, I just used Google to show her the evolution picture, you know, that we all know and that we never questioned. And she looked at it and she said, you know, you see the Homo sapiens becoming, well, the person that the man that we are nowadays. And she said, were there no women before on Earth? And that really hit me. It was through the whole day, I was just like, you know, it's again a very easy symbol of invisible women. And I Googled it. I tried to Google evolution of women and show me pictures, but there's no picture about that. So yeah, that was a confirmation for me that it's really important to show not only adults, but to show the next generation on the girls that there are so many possibilities for you as a girl as well. Because it just shows that if you're a child, you believe in what you see. And yeah, and then after this happening with the evolution, I went out there on LinkedIn to I reached out to all the women who are willing to share their stories, and Timia is one of them as well. Yeah, I really see a big impact. So many women coming back to me and saying this is such a great thing, and we need more role models, or telling me I didn't have a role model, it would have helped me so much. So now I'm in that journey, and I'm really so happy to talk to all these women and hearing their story, hearing what worked for them, hearing what they missed, and hearing what is still an obstacle for women in the industry. And yeah, I just love doing that and seeing that it creates something. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Others. Yeah.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be a guest on your podcast. Because that's what this whole motivation and passion converges into at work for you.
If I may just briefly interject for our listeners, can you tell us the name of the podcast again?
Well, we use the hashtag HR4WIT, and you can also find the interviews on our YouTube channel. The company is called APSA, Personal Concepts, and APSA stands for All People Shall Advance, which is also an important fact. And you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, of course. That's where I spent a lot of time. And,
yes, that's how it all started.
Yes,
I saw a post of yours on LinkedIn, and some friends of mine already commented on that beforehand, and I was also tagged in one of these comments, and that's how we finally got to engaged. And
yeah.
Thank you for inviting me on your podcast. It was really fantastic to be a guest for a change on a podcast.
Yeah, it was great having you.
And my friend also talked at your podcast, and I've seen also the previous ones, and I'm like honored to be mentioned and part of that group of amazing women here locally. So fantastic what your passion, and I'm also happy that this was possible for you in at APSA. So really amazing. Altogether an inspirational story of what passion and drives innovation basically can concretely mean for a company or for the community.
Yeah. And I really felt, in the past weeks, there were so many ideas coming up again. So
I see.
I feel like everyone around me is like, oh my God, slow down a bit.
Yeah.
No, but, I have a lot of people supporting me, thankfully. And my husband also is my sparring partner here because he's very innovative as well. And we will also work on an event within the next weeks where people can meet their role models. You will hear about that in the coming weeks, because I feel that this is also something that that would again inspire others, not only to see them on a video or to read their blog post, but also to be able to connect with those women and to ask questions directly.
That's a very good idea. I like, and we gladly support such endeavors for our community. So we'll make sure to put all these links to the podcast, also to your LinkedIn profile in the show notes for our listeners.
Yeah, thank you.
And I just want to underline again, I love how you told us the story about your girls and how that inspires you. I find that really amazing. Kids can be a lot of things for us, but rarely in my circle at least, I find this like concrete point of, yes, we need to do more for the next generation. Because actually that's what it boils down to. But you also have some amazing girls at home asking you
they're
these
challenging
really
me every day.
challenging questions, right? Like, okay, where's the woman in the evolution? There's no picture about that.
Yeah. It's like that. Like,
fabulous.
Also, the small one starts telling me things like, no, but he can't use a boy in her kindergarten. Well, he can't wear pink. He's a boy, And I was like, no, he can wear pink. Of course he can. But it already starts at a very early stage. And this is the stereotypes. It's really not easy because my two girls, they just love princesses and they love to wear pink. It's absolutely okay as long as they feel that they can still become like a police woman, or I don't know, any other job that is rather male than female.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I read goodnight stories for rebel girls to them. I don't know if you know that book. It's brilliant. They're a bit too small to really understand word by word because the language. Well, I think it's from the age of 9-10 years. It will be understandable, but it shows 100 women and their stories in one page, and it's written for children.
Oh,
awesome!
I think I heard about the
amazing
book.
And you see women that we know now today is Angela Merkel, or it's Michelle Obama, or it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg. 100 women. I think we already read like 80 of them. And many of those are scientists. That's what I like about the book as well, because it shows a lot of women who studied maths or informatics as well, and it raises awareness about the things that women experienced like 100 years ago or 50 years ago, and I find it really important to show my girls that they have all the possibilities.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're doing that amazingly well, and not just for your girls, for the whole community with the HR for WIT podcast, and hopefully the event that you're looking to create in the community. So kudos. Keep it going. Amazing.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, all of this is going right into the show notes. I'm incredibly excited to share this with our listeners.
Thank
Indeed.
you.
By the way, do you have any other advice for our listeners in any way? Books for parents, for kids, or events, or women, or anything?
One book or one woman that inspired me a lot is Brene Brown.
Oh, fantastic.
Well, I saw her. You can also watch her on Netflix. Actually, see, she has one Netflix show. She does TED Talks. That's how she got. Well, that's how she became famous. And she's studying shame and vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
And in her Netflix show, she said one sentence that hit me as well. She said, "What if you, at the end of your life, you ask yourself, what if I would have shown up?" You know, because many of us are hiding, are not being authentic because of the expectations of others or any other reason, the way we are educated and so on. And vulnerability is something that or showing vulnerability is not easy. It was not easy for me to go out there in LinkedIn and say, this is what I'm going to do. I didn't sleep for nights because this is an act of vulnerability. You show part of yourself, of
Yes.
your inner self. And also what I'm doing here today is also another step forward for me. But I really see that, first of all, if you are vulnerable yourself, you can inspire others to reach what they would like to achieve, and not being not being small, because we can all be big, we can all live our dreams. And for me, that was one of the inspirations to go forward and to really do the things that I'm dreaming about, and not holding myself back because of anything out there, because there are so many limitations that we give ourselves or that come from the outside. So I think that what I would hand on is always, be yourself, believe in yourself, and just do your thing. And also talk to people about your fears, because everyone has them. Everyone is afraid of something. Everyone has experienced bad things. So if you have a mentor or a friend, a sparring partner, a colleague, it would just be helpful to share the experience and to know from the other one that it's okay, and or I've been there too. You don't feel alone if you hear the other stories. And that is also another motivation for me to share stories, to make women visible with everything they experienced. Yeah, and also like what I do now, more than that I did before, because it's all online and it's easier for me as a mom. I do a lot of networking and online events, that helped me also to do what I'm doing nowadays, because I have more visibility thanks to that. And I connected to men and women who have the same motivation, the same aim. Yeah, so that would be another tip from myself.
Thank you. I it's really refreshing to hear from somebody who is who something I've noticed is that a lot of people have been kind of let down by the bigger omnipresence of online events. I mean, taking into account everything that's going on, but but it's really refreshing to hear that there are positive aspects to it too, that it enables people, for example, who might not have as much time because they're parents, to be able to come onto these events and have their presence out there as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's I think, for example, that's a giant lesson in empathy, to be able to be able to, maybe moving forward, be able to offer both types of events, in person and online, and give folks the opportunity to get out there.
And I think that it's especially for introvert people, it's easier to network online, because if you're not the extrovert, outgoing person, and you get into a conference room, would you just go to someone and say, "Hi, this is who I am"? I don't think so. And I experienced that as well. Like 10 years ago, I would have just stayed with my colleagues on an event and chat with them and feel like I've been on an event, but I never networked with anyone because I was too afraid to just talk to a stranger, you know. And being online, and well, also the possibility to write and not to talk, I think that's also something that makes it easier to connect. And then you have very often you have breakout rooms where you only meet two people on the video, and it's a very intimate, cozy situation. And I think that this is really helpful for men and women who don't have the time to go on events very often, or who wouldn't dare just talking to strangers.
I'm definitely curious to see how this will move ahead in the community. What will happen? Will there really be hybrid conferences from now on? Let's see.
We will see. I'm curious.
The goal is to be inclusive.
Yeah,
I think that should be the goal for all conferences.
Absolutely.
Well, I suppose for the end of the podcast, I'd just like to know, looking back now at everything that happened in your life and everything with the pandemic and everything in our lives, is there anything you would have done different or at a different time in your life?
You know, I told you I studied at the VU. I studied international business administration, which was not a passion of myself. I did it because my parents expected me to do. So I very often thought I should have studied something else. I was interested in psychology. I was a lot interested in languages, obviously, or in medicine as well. But I decided not to think that this was the wrong way, because it led me where I am now, you know. I wouldn't have gone to Russia in this moment, and I wouldn't have met my husband and so many friends. And I also, and everything I learned there, I mean, I can use it now. So, I will not say I would do it differently nowadays. For many years I said, well, I should have done something else, but now I'm happy about the way that I've chosen. And another thing that I'm regretting a bit is, like I said before, like 10 years ago, there were still many companies who told us we prefer men, and I stayed silent because a client is king and you don't say anything. But back then I was like in my late 20s. It was just the first years of work experience. So I didn't dare saying anything. Now I would say something. I would tell my client that it's not possible to work like that, and I will just move on. So this is something that I regret a bit, but also I'm, I felt like I wasn't ready to raise my voice back then. I wasn't ready to be vocal about the things I believe in. So also be nice to yourself and tell yourself that it was okay. To the way you reacted back then. So all in all, I would say you learn from every mistake, and I wouldn't be the person that I'm now if I hadn't done the things I did in my life.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if I may say, by putting yourself on these platforms and saying these kinds of things, what you're kind of doing is enabling folks who are in the position that you were 10 years ago to be able to speak up and say, hey, not cool, So, and I think that carries a lot of weight.
Yeah,
absolutely. Thanks for being our mentor.
Thank you for having me.
Totally. So as we wrap up, before we let you go, Tina, one thing I'd love to do is to ask you, are there any resources that you're really into lately that you'd love to share with our audience, or maybe an organization that you'd like to give a shout out to?
I mean, obviously this podcast, everyone should listen to it. And I'm I'm part of I'm a mentor with the Female Factor, so I see that the mentees there are really happy with the program. So if you're looking for a mentor and a program connected to that, the Female Factor is definitely a very interesting platform, or also Womentor. If you're in
podcast.
IT. Sorry?
Exactly. And your podcast.
Yes, this one,
exactly.
of course, as well. And I'm also attending a lot of events with the new IT girls.
Right.
So this is also a very nice platform to network and to meet other women in IT.
And can I ask you, for your podcast, you're looking for women in tech, or not just?
It's women in tech for now. We don't know where it will lead.
Okay.
But I mean, I also interviewed Martina Ernst, who is coaching women regarding salary negotiations, because I felt that this is an important thing as well, to empower women to earn their worth. Because I see that, on the average, women ask for 10 to 20% less for the same position. So I can coach them, but if they go for a job on their own, they would maybe not get the money that that they're worth. So this was important for me too, to show women that also empower other women. But concerning women in tech, also I want to show the variety that you can find in IT regarding positions, first of all, and also not only showing like the female leaders who are in the management positions, but also show every kind of level you can find in a company, because not everyone is willing to become a team leader. And I think it's important to show the diversity also within women in tech.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a shout out to our listeners, especially women in tech. This is your chance to get out of the comfort zone and be a guest on the podcast. Tina is waiting for you.
Yes, I am.
Great.
And in order to do that, you mentioned folks can get in touch with you through LinkedIn. That's your preferred.
Yeah, that's where I spend most of my time. yeah, LinkedIn is the best way to connect with me.
Excellent.
We'll make sure to put it in the show notes.
Sure.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for being here, Tina, with us today. Ramon for co-hosting as usual. And dear listeners, see you next time or listen to us next time. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Are you on the forefront of gender equality? You are invited on our podcast.
That's right. Or maybe you know somebody that we could have a chat with on gender equality. You should totally get in touch with us. We're on Twitter at gendercoffee or any of the other contact methods on our show notes. We would love you to get in touch and for us to have a chat.